Vanderbilt University, located in Nashville, Tennessee, this little southern town, is a wonderful university, has a beautiful campus. And throughout the years, Vanderbilt has made wonderful, wonderful discoveries in science, in medicine, astronomy. It's done such wonderful things in research to make the world better. But we can do better, because what people don't realize is that behind the scenes, to keep all that going, it takes little people like me.
My brother ended up going to jail when I was 14. I watched the police come in the house, put him in handcuffs, and take him out. That was probably the most devastating thing I've seen since my father passed away. That was my best friend, that was my buddy. Hey, I was a daddy's boy, can't help it. But at the same time, he taught me pretty much everything I know. Whether it's about life, cooking, you know, people in general. He didn't get to teach me everything because he passed when I was 12. But on up until then, I listened to everything, and I try to absorb the best I can and apply it to everyday life.
I'm not rich, but my father is. As long as he's got something, I got something. That's why I share. I try to share with people, because you never know who's gonna come around that will come back to you and say, I remember you from Vanderbilt. You were there, you made a difference.
At that age, it does something to me. I knew then I was the only man left in the house. I got 5 sisters and a mother and just me. And everybody started to look to me. For a male figure in the house, I had to be it. And I had to grow, that made me grow up even quicker. So from the age of technically, I started working when I was 14. From 15, I've been taking care of my family as best I can. You know, we wasn't blessed with a lot of money. We struggled a lot of times. But one thing my father did, he would never let me see him struggle. Even if he was stressed out, struggling, he'd never let me see it. He never let any of us kids see it. You know, him and my mom might have talked about it, but as kids, he kept us out of it, because at the time, I don't think we need to know what they were stressing about. And it's the same things that I stress about now as my own man. And that's just basically living. That's what everybody want to do. That's why we work. That's why we try so hard. That's why they offer stuff like overtime and incentives and 401ks and stuff like that, because it's your life. You need something.
You know, we're kind of in that spot. We're right on the edge. You know, we're right on the edge. It's. I know I can't pay my bills on Vanderbilt's salary. It's impossible. And so I have a roommate situation here, and I have another source of income.
Knowing that the students are behind you, that gives you that little incentive to keep on and not give up. Despair is a horrible thing, and it really, it's heartbreaking. But when we know that the students are behind us, and we know that the students are encouraging us, that helps us to get through it.
It's not okay for people to live in poverty when they work so hard. And I understand from an institutional perspective that they have to make Vanderbilt run properly. And I benefit from that. And I'm very, very thankful. But at what cost? And mainly at what invisible cost?
And I think appeals to a market logic fails to take into account the real human stories of people behind those numbers. Vanderbilt is an educational institution that in its stated values says that it values equality, compassion, and excellence in all endeavors. And as a student, I really believe in those values. I think those are high first principles that we should strive for. The reality is that we are falling short of our first principles.
They portray themselves as an employer that cares. You know, they value their workers, you know, and what they value is their image. Because time after time, they've shown no empathy towards its employees, no compassion.
And it's like, if we don't have a union rep with us when we talk, we get our heads smashed in. because then it's your word against theirs.
We're taught to respect authority. We're taught to value what we're provided here. So I think it's really hard to say, no, I think you're wrong. No, I don't think you're telling us the full facts.
But when the students get angry and get upset, Vanderbilt pay attention then. Because it's their money. But with us, employees, they don't care nothing about what you're talking about. And it's sad.
A lot of them see exactly what's going on. And they recognize it, and they try their best to bring it to the forefront for us. So, you know, all the students and, you know, the people who out there actually care about what's going on, I applaud them. Because it's hard to get somebody to speak on your behalf, to even, you know, raise a voice. It's hard, especially when you're in the type of environment that everything is hush-hush.
The support of the student body is so rewarding within itself, and it makes me feel appreciated, you know, that they care that much to take part and give of themselves and their time to help support me and the causes that I'm trying to help change.
I'm seeing that these students here not only care about us, but they care about each other, they care about other people, they care about this planet, they care about their fellow human beings. And that gives me hope for the future, that this world that my granddaughter is going to grow up in is going to be in good hands. And that means the world to me, because I'm doing this for the future, not only for the young students at Vanderbilt, but for my granddaughter and for the children that you all might have in the future, to make the world better.
So in the summertime at Vanderbilt, we're laid off completely. It goes from 40 hours a week to 0 hours a week. You're allowed to cash in your vacation time, which is paid out on your last check, and then you're dropped completely. You are required to keep up with your insurance payments over the summer by yourself. You're required to go find a job to make ends meet. There's no assistance. There's nothing on a university level that is done for partial year workers.
Maybe in years past, when the economy wasn't as tough, it would have been easier to find a job, but with unemployment super high, it's a tough market just to find a 3-month job, you know, because they have to spend all that money in training you, you know what I mean? It takes a certain amount of money to train an employee, and then, you know, by the time you get trained and get rolling with it good, and boom, it's time for you to leave, and they're going to have to, you know, hire somebody else and pay to train them again. And people aren't, you know, employers are not wanting to do that.
I'd say that last year was even harder. I wasn't prepared. I didn't really understand that it was such a dead drop, and it was really hard to struggle through the summer. I spent the better part of July out of a job because I was trying to be honest with potential employers and let them know that I was going back to Vanderbilt, and no one would hire me for such a short amount of time. And I really can't blame them, you know. No one wants to hire someone for a month and see them leave after they've been trained. You hear that the worry and the grumbling start in March, you know, and what are we going to do? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I was able to kind of start earlier finding a job, but I've still had to find a job on the grounds that maybe I'll stick around. When I wanted to go back to Vanderbilt, I like the people I work with and I like what I do, but I've had to kind of gray that area between will I or won't I go back in order to find employment. It's really hard starting over again every single summer, and I feel like that's the toughest part of the layoffs.
And that's sort of driving me away, and I've noticed that time off where you work and then you don't work has driven good people away, good employees away, because they need that stability. We had a guy who was hired this year, really good worker, very consistent, reliable. After a couple months, when he realized he was going to have all these times off without pay, he went looking for work elsewhere.
I think that they need to have more job opportunities for the people who are laid off in the summer. That will make sure that they at least have some income coming in, so they at least can pay some bills, help their family out, kids and all.
As far as helping find employment for the summer, this is the first time I've seen anything up posted. At the end of the school year, there was a job posting in the housing department. But that's really the only time I've seen much up. There was also a posting for job possibilities at Lowe's or Home Depot for summer employment. But there was not a whole lot of information given. You couldn't ask anyone that knew any answers to any questions really about such things. Really all they did was give you, I asked for an application and they gave me that. And that was pretty much all that I could get. The effort is really not made very well or very believably at all to find us true summer employment that we could rely on this summer and next summer and the summer after that.
My husband, he has coronary artery disease and he's on a lot of medications, and there's always something, some doctor visits, some new tests. So it's really trying and hard, and then being out of work for such a long period of time, bills tend to build up, and then you work really hard trying to catch back up, but then the cycle just repeats itself.
During the summer months, when I'm laid off from work, I do work with the union, and during that course of time, we go out and we talk to employees, trying to stress to them the importance of getting involved and supporting the union. And it's really heartbreaking because I've knocked on employees' doors with eviction notices on their door. Actually gone into an employee's house to have a conversation with them, and we had to leave the door open because their lights were off. And I know it had to be embarrassing for them, and you get to the point where you say, oh my God, and this happens to people that work every day. And it's like, enough is enough.
This summer was a little bit rough. I had to find a summer job and everything. I looked and looked and I got turned down so many times. I start early, about March. Maybe I should start in January, or so I thought. This year it did take a while, and in the meantime my electricity was cut off. That was okay, it was just for a couple of days. The weather was good, so it was not like I was suffering or anything. Then my water bill. My water bill was due, and we had to try to negotiate with them, and it was a little bit difficult. In the meantime, my water was cut off for a few days. I had to go up the street to a friend's house and get water from him in jugs and carry it back. And I had to make myself a makeshift shower out of an old Coke bottle. I had to do some primitive living skills there, because I don't want to come to work dirty. I don't like being dirty, I like being clean. And so I kind of suffered through in ways that most people would not be able to. I lost a lot of weight over this summer. My pants are loose, and it's because I had to tighten my belt, and I had to make sacrifices most people don't make. Didn't eat so good over the summer. Got real skinny. But that's just one of the things I have to go through. But some of these people are older, and some of them I see them, and I know they're not going to get a job over the summer. Despite the fact that I was fortunate enough to find somebody that gave me a chance. Not every employee here gets that, and they have to rely on family members, or they have to go take out loans and then pay back the loans with whatever the interest is. That's a hardship for them. They're not making a lot of money where it's just easy. And it just irks me that people who don't do the actual physical sweat-inducing work that we do here are paid so much, and they don't seem to have a clue. They're oblivious. But even though they seem oblivious, I know they know. They're not stupid. They know, but they just don't care. How can you not care? I care.
We're not trying to get rich off nobody. We're not trying to sit up here and, you know, beat the system or nothing like that. We just want to live. To the point, gas is like almost $4 a gallon again. And when I wake up every morning, I gotta make a life decision on whether am I gonna spend this money on gas to get to work, or do I put it on this bill, or I know my kids and stuff gotta eat tonight.
It's been tough for me because just making rent is a 40-hour-a-week excursion. You know, it's just a will I or won't I have enough money tomorrow to make rent and to grab some groceries on the way home from work, and it's tough. It is tough.
It took like 4 years to find somebody that was kind enough and nice enough and decent enough and human enough to not pass me up and give me a chance. So now next summer, I've got my summer secured. But in the meantime, there are other Vanderbilt dining employees that don't have such luck.
I do want to stipulate that it wasn't an option to start as a partial year worker. Very few full year dining positions come up, and those are given based on seniority. It wasn't an option. I didn't choose to work partial year.
I worked 2 full-time jobs and a part-time job at one point. That's what I was doing while working here. And I had to do that just to make ends meet. That's stressful as hell. And I mean, some people don't know how stressful that is. There's a lot of times I wanted to give up.
I just want things to be better for people, because people work hard here and they deserve that. And when they come back and they're full of resentment because the higher ups here, the people in authority just disregard them, and they got that hurt feelings and resentment from that, that doesn't help things. And we're representing Vanderbilt by interacting with the students. And when we're more rested and less stressed and more happy, it shows. And we can serve the students and the faculty so much better. When you hear the news and you read the student papers and whatnot about what's going on campus at Vanderbilt, and you see who's getting bonuses, and you see who's paid this enormous amount of money, and I compare that to what I'm paid and what my fellow employees are paid, we're living at poverty level. I mean, for several years, I've lived on less than $15,000 a year. And when those who are in charge of making these decisions here about our pay and about what happens to us in the summer, when they know that we're going to have to endure this, but they don't show any concern, that concerns me. How can you call yourself a human being and have no empathy for these people that make far less than you?
In 2009, I made a little over $15,000. And I have a family of 4 to support. And I know that's way below the federal government's poverty line. And even if I had worked the full year, which that year I did work some of the summer months. And it's appalling sometimes, you know, when you see articles in the local papers, and it talks about how he makes $2.2 million a year, and then he has a performance evaluation, and for his performance review he gets $210,000. Well, me, I'm a worker. I'm the one doing the labor. I'm the one serving the students and employees and alumni, and on a performance review I get 10 cents if I do well. I mean, where's the justice in that? Where's the rightness in that?
He's human, I'm human. He works for y'all, I work for y'all. He does a type of customer service, I do a type of customer service. I'm not saying we need to be equal. I need to get paid the same as him, no. But if I'd have had $50 out of the $210,000 that he got, you probably wouldn't hear a word out of me. I mean, just because it shows me something, that I'm worth something to you all. Right now, I feel like a little cockroach. Like, at any time, you can just rub your foot over me and squash me. You can sit up here and you can tell me in my face, oh, I appreciate this. You do a good job. The people love you. Customers like to come here just to see you sometime, you know? But then you sit back and you give me my performance evaluation and you tell me I'm worth 3 pennies to you? But this person over here in another position or whatnot, or a little bit higher up, they get, oh, $50 bonus, $200 bonus. And it depends on where you really at, oh, $200,000 bonus, $500,000. I mean, it's like, you can find the money to do stuff like that, but the people on the lowest part of the totem pole, you kick.
For us, like programs, they have a lot of programs that come in during the summertime. It's enough business for some of the people who laid off to actually have some work around there. We have preview groups that come in every Monday and Friday. That's like 500 of those people. Then you have a lot of conference come in. You have this VSA group, and you have the extra little conference group, like academic, athletic conference groups come in. So it's enough work around there for, you know, to get some of the people who's not working in the summer, get them opportunity to work.
Vanderbilt holds a lot of clout in the community. We are professionals. We work on a professional level, and I know personally that I go in the summertime and outperform most employees in a private, in a private kitchen outside of Vanderbilt because of what I do at Vanderbilt.
One for sure thing would be to allow the employees to draw unemployment. The other thing would be to make a more concerted effort to find employment within the Vanderbilt family for those displaced workers. I mean, they employ over 23,000 people. There's absolutely no reason they shouldn't be able to find work for 170-some displaced workers.
And so I feel like Vanderbilt could outreach to the community and really get people involved who would gladly en masse take Vanderbilt employees and put them to good work and for a fair salary. And knowing full well that they're going to leave and go back to Vanderbilt. There is a way to take these people who give 9 months of their lives to Vanderbilt and make them full-time employees. Maybe not directly through Vanderbilt, but somehow Vanderbilt has to help.
And that's why it's so important now, why so many other workers are speaking up. They're getting tired and they know it's time for a change.
But I can't quit either, because this is my livelihood. If I quit, then what does that make me? A quitter and out on the street. So I have to struggle, whether it's a good struggle, a bad struggle period, is gonna have to happen.
And the only way we can implement that change is with us all coming together.
I mean, I may be moving on, but I still care about the people that work there because, like I said, they are dedicated people, amazingly dedicated.
And I'm getting ready to retire. I said, but you getting ready to retire? I said, then so what? I'm still leaving people behind me that are my friends and my coworkers. I said, I feel for them. If they may not make it to where I made it, 62, and can afford to go on and retire. Now, if I had a little boy, a little girl, more kids, I probably couldn't do it either. Some of them so broke down, they don't even need to be working, but they can't afford to take it. They can't afford to do it.
I think Vanderbilt needs to really think about that. You've got people that are living marginally on the edge because they're working. They're working, and they're working for a pretty famous place. And yet, it doesn't pay the bills. That's the bottom line.
We still have to pay our living costs. We still have to keep a roof over our head. We still have to eat. We still have to pay our bills during the summer. And a lot of these higher ups don't have to worry about that. And they don't have a clue as to what it's like. They don't understand the stress. And then they think we're supposed to come back all happy. And we try to put on the front because we try to put on appearances. But we would like to have the peace of mind and just the true peace of coming back not stressed. And that's the dirty little secret of Vanderbilt that's shameful and needs to be changed, because we can do better in that respect. Vanderbilt is better than that. But the higher ups, those people in authority, need to step up to the bat.